You wanna try to put the lid on now? See what happens, try to put the lid on now. Claudia's like, no, just like.
No, it's not because the top of it is hot. Don't know.
Yeah, so it's not gonna put it out.
It won't seal it, but it might do enough.
Might do it another try.
If you did something.
Oh, man. Yes, you can change Russian.
Yeah, it's probably been like, yeah. We're probably.
I will stand with you. Will you stand with me? And we will be the change that we hope to see. In the name of love, in the name of will you stand with me? When injustice raises up its fist and fights to stop us in our tracks, we will rise. And as one resist, no fear nor sorrow can turn us back. I will stand with you. Will you stand with me? And we will be the change that we hope to see. In the name of peace, will you stand with me? When pain and hatred churn up angry noise and fight to drown out our freedom song, we will rise in one joyful voice, loud and clear and ever strong. I will stand with you. Will you stand with me? And we will be the change that we hope to see. In the name of love, in the name of peace, will you stand with me? When broken hearts come knocking on our doors, lost and hungry and so alone, we will reach as we have reached before, for there is no stranger in this our home. I will stand with you. Will you stand with me? And we will be the change that we hope to see. In the name of love, in the name of peace, will you stand with me? I will stand with you. Will you stand with me? And we will be the change that we hope to see. In the name of love, in the name of peace, will you stand with me? In the name of love, in the name of peace, will you stand with me?
And we're all gonna sing. So we sing too. Yep. We travel long, we travel far to be right here where we are. Reach out a hand, no need to fear, 'cause all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need but the day is bright. Together we can lift our eyes to all we love and we hold dear, 'cause all we need is right here. Sing this. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here.
Good morning. Welcome to All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church, whether you're joining us here in the sanctuary or online. We thank you so much for being here. Whatever your age, race, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, all of the things that unite us as people and distinguish us as people, if you care to worship with us, you are welcome here. We are united here not by an enforced belief or doctrine, but by a covenant, by the promises that we make to each other for the way that we will be together in community, learn from our differences, listen for the commonalities and the differences, and work together to build a better world. So again, welcome. We make just a few announcements at the beginning. A lot of them were included in the slides, so we don't try to cover everything. But we do want to acknowledge that our volunteer of the month is our board president, Sally Wood. Yay! Sally, if you notice the sign out front, you know we're going through some brave changes at this church, and Sally has shown some inspiring leadership in that regard, and yet can also sing a tango with the best of them, and just has a wonderfully inspiring and generous spirit, and we're very, very, very lucky to have her leadership. Thank you. Our giveaway the plate each month, we do choose a local organization that aligns with our principles and values. And this month, February, that's a month. This month it's Highland Center Ministries. We are a member congregation of Highland Center Ministries, so this is part of how we raise our dues for that organization, and they do the Highland Blessing Dinner, which is actually this Thursday, not the first Thursday like it usually is. We are trading with First Pres because they had an event this week that they will be attending at their church. So we're going to host the dinner this Thursday night, February 11th, 520 Olive Street. Come by 5. You're just about always out by 7. Lately, I don't think we've stayed all the way till 7 at all, even those of us who are there till the bitter end. So you can be a table server and serve the food. The food's already cooked and made. It's served family style. Or you can be a table host, which is like one of the best jobs in the house because you get to sit and eat the meal with the guests. And our cook is from New Orleans and is wonderful. So either way, it's a fun night to volunteer. It goes by fast, and we'd love to have you join us. Building and grounds, thank yous. First of all, Eric First, of course, who is in charge of our building and grounds monthly work day. We also had Kate Nance, Kelly Coffey, Don Shubasich, Tina Hines, Bob Jordan, and Mike Roberts. So thank you to all of those people. And I think, we are supported by our members who pledge money and our members and friends who contribute money. We don't pass the plate right now, although we're talking about starting that again. But right now, we do have a basket at the back. If you would like to contribute on your way out, we will very graciously and gracefully accept that. And if you don't have cash, there is a QR code back there that you can use to give online. Thank you. We will ring the chime, and when we don't hear the chime anymore, we'll sing together, "Come, Come, Whoever You Are," the words of Rumi, and they will be on the screen. And also, I did want to thank Claudia Harris for being our guest speaker today. And after we sing, then it'll be her turn. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. One more time, a little faster, because we are no caravan of despair. Am I right? All right. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come.
May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. May we know once again that we are not isolated beings, but connected in mystery and miracle to the universe, to this community, and to each other. So I need some help with the chalice lighting. There's help coming.
There is help on
Help
the way.
coming.
That's right.
We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the helping hands. This is the church of the loving heart. Together, with mind, hands, and heart, we care for the earth and for each other.
The central task of the religious community is to unveil the bonds that bind each to all. There is a connectedness, a relationship discovered amid the particulars of our own lives and the lives of others. Once felt, it inspires us to act for justice. It is the church that assures us that we are not struggling for justice on our own, but as members of a larger community. The religious community is essential, for alone our vision is too narrow to see all that must be seen, and our strength too limited to do all that must be done. Together, our vision widens and our strength is renewed. So, if you would stand in either spirit or stand and repeat with me the unison affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the sacred. Thus do we covenant with each other.
Oh, it's one of those, sorry.
I don't know if that it goes up. Does
Yeah,
it
it
go
does, a little bit.
up? Okay.
Thank you so much, Bob. We appreciate Bob Jordan being here to help us with music. So this morning, I want to tell you a story that you may have heard before. The story of two wolves. And so I'm thinking I may even get some help to tell it. I want to tell you a little bit, though, about the origin of this story, which is that nobody actually knows the origin of this story. It was told for years as a Cherokee story, but the thing about it is nobody in the Cherokee Nation, and there have been all kinds of researchers and indigenous stories, and they've looked and looked and looked, and they can't find the roots of the story in Cherokee lore. And so it seems like somebody wrote what was really a pretty good story and a pretty good lesson and just decided, I don't know if it really is from native wisdom from way back or maybe from some other tribe, nobody could find it anywhere, or if they just thought it'll sound more folky or it'll sound somehow more authentic if I just say. And so we really want to get away from white people kind of trying to tell other people's stories when we should let them tell their stories for themselves. And it's still a pretty good story. So the grandfather is talking to his son, and the son has been kind of acting out and has been very angry and has been very frustrated. Do you ever have those days, those weeks, those months, those years where you feel that way? And it just seems like nothing is going right, and every way that you react to the situation is the wrong way, and you're just getting yourself in trouble and offending other people. You're just having a hard time. And the grandfather could see that the grandson was struggling, and so he tells him the story. He says, there are two wolves inside of you. One of the wolves is like all about greed, anger, arrogance, kind of stuck up, puffed up pride. What are some other kind of bad emotions? Kind of anger, yeah, we mentioned that. False pride, okay, yeah. What? Defensiveness, yeah. Anything else? And I'll say this, I shouldn't have used the word bad emotions. That was because we all are going to have these emotions. But the trick is what? How we act on them. That's right. So the one wolf is all of these things we just talked about: greed and anger and meanness and cruelty. And the other wolf is about goodness, generosity, compassion. Any other good words we can think of? Kindness. Yeah. What, Rebecca? Acceptance. Love. Caring. Love. Empathy. Yeah, the ability to kind of know that, see and know and understand and try to understand what someone else is feeling. Empathy, that's a really important one. Accountability, very good, yeah. Joy, it's great. Curiosity is a really good one. So that wolf has all of these kind of wonderful, and so the grandson asked, oh, what was it? Truth, yeah? Truth? Like peace, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. Truth, good word, good word. So this grandson asked the question, so which one will win? And who remembers how the grandfather answered? Neither of them win. Well, now that's an interesting way to put it, and I actually want to explore that, Jackson. But does anybody remember the story and what the grandfather? Whichever one you feed. Whichever one you feed. That's right. Now I was reading. I did a lot of digging about this story when Claudia asked me to tell it, and I found this one woman that said, I might not want to starve all of those emotions like anger and that I might want to, maybe I should think about feeding them correctly. Like if your anger is justified, we talk about, in interfaith, we talk about cold anger versus hot anger. Like if you're just mad, then that's just rage and that's not going to accomplish anything. But if injustice has made you mad, how are you going to channel that? How are you going to feed that with love? How are you going to feed that emotion with love so that you channel it into something you can use constructively? So yes, whichever one you feed is definitely, but let's go further with that and say, how can we feed them both in a better way? How can we feed the positive aspects of this one that we're thinking of as bad? With veganism. Which reminds me, we have another vegan potluck coming up in March, and the date, I will get that for you, I promise. We'll send it out in your email. Anyway, yes, so whichever one you feed and how you feed them, right? Right? So, anybody have anything else before we sing the children and youth to their class? All right. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
A monastery had fallen on hard times. It was once part of a great order, which, as a result of religious persecution in the 17th and 18th centuries, lost all its branches. It was decimated to the extent that there are only 5 monks left in the mother house, the abbot and 4 others, all of whom were over 70. Clearly, it was a dying order. Deep in the woods surrounding the monastery was a little hut that the rabbi from a nearby town occasionally used for a hermitage. One day, it occurred to the abbot to visit the hermitage to see if the rabbi could offer any advice that might save the monastery. The rabbi welcomed the abbot and commiserated. "I know how it is," he said. "The spirit has gone out of people. Almost no one comes to the synagogue anymore." So the old rabbi and the old abbot wept together, and they read parts of the Torah and spoke quietly of deep things. The time came for the abbot, when the abbot had to leave. They embraced. "It has been wonderful being with you," said the abbot, "but I have failed in my purpose for coming. Have you no piece of advice that might save the monastery?" "No, I'm sorry," the rabbi responded. "I have no advice to give. The only thing I can tell you is the Messiah is one of you." When the other monks heard the rabbi's words, they wondered what possible significance they might have. "The Messiah is one of us here at the monastery? Do you suppose he meant the abbot?" "Of course, it must be the abbot who has been our leader for so long. On the other hand, he might have meant me." "Of course he didn't mean me, yet supposing he did. Oh Lord, not me, I couldn't mean that much to you, could I?" As they contemplated in this manner, the old monks began to treat each other with extraordinary respect, on the off chance that one of them might be the Messiah, and on the off chance that each monk himself might be the Messiah, they began to treat themselves with extraordinary respect. And because the forest in which it was situated was beautiful, people occasionally came to the monastery to picnic or to wander along old paths, most of which led to the dilapidated chapel. They sensed the aura of extraordinary respect that surrounded the 5 monks, permeating the atmosphere. They began to come more frequently, bringing their friends, and their friends brought friends. Some of the younger men who came to visit began to engage in conversation with the monks. After a while, one asked if he might join, then another, and another. Within a few years, the monastery became a once again thriving order, and thanks to the rabbi's gift, a vibrant, authentic community of light and love for the whole realm. So, we'll meditate for a few moments and light candles.
Oh, gather up the brokenness and bring it to me now. The fragrance of those promises you never dared to vow. The splinters that you carry, the cross you left behind. Come healing of the body, come healing of the mind, and let the heavens hear it, the penitential hymn. Come healing of the spirit, come healing of the limb. Behold the gates of mercy in arbitrary space, and none of us deserving the cruelty or the grace. Oh, solitude of longing, where love has been confined. Come healing of the body, come healing of the mind. Oh, see the darkness yielding, I tore the light apart. Come healing of the reason, come healing of the heart. Oh, troubled dust concealing and undivided love, the heart beneath is teaching to the broken heart above. Let the heavens falter and let the earth proclaim. Come healing of the altar, come healing of the name. Oh, longing of the branches to lift the little bud. Oh, longing of the arteries to purify the blood, and let the heavens hear it, the penitential hymn. Come healing of the spirit, come healing of the limb. Oh, let the heavens hear it, the penitential hymn. Come healing of the spirit, come healing of the limb.
That is a beautiful song. These are the times that try all souls. Okay. A steady heart. The last few months have ushered in a great deal of fear and anxiety, not unlike the spread of the coronavirus a few years ago. But even with the spread of anxiety, depression, frustration, and fear, there are those among us with a deepening sense of resolve and care. We realize how vulnerable we are as human beings and how we need to protect one another. Such difficult times call for our inner steadiness and strength for ourselves and for those around us. As Master Thich Nhat Hanh said, when the crowded Vietnamese refugee boats met with storms or pirates, if everyone panicked, all would be lost. But if even one person on the boat stayed calm and steady, It was enough. So our task is to become that person. We've done this before. It's in our blood, it's in our DNA. 1,000 generations of ancestors have survived through wars and epidemics, pandemics, depressions, and famines. This is what we've been training for, and this is who we are, and what we can offer to those around us as well as to the next generation. We can offer a steady heart amidst it all. My understanding of the concept of love has changed over time, and that's in the title, that love is the through line here. And as Unitarians, we talk, we sing, and we even have t-shirts about standing on the side of love. Love is the doctrine of this church, is the opening line of our unison affirmation. Over the years, I guess I've evolved around the concept of love, because earlier I resisted it. I thought of it as pretty sentimental, not a particularly strong emotion, the fodder of top 40 songs, and kind of life as a romance novel. But now, I really have a much broader, much more nuanced, and I believe truer idea about love. So the title of the sermon came to me as like, love is the through line. It infuses courage, it informs compassion, commitment, our choices, our connections. If it wasn't for love, why would it matter that people are trying to steal the light, that they are trying to take people's rights away? It is because we care that injustice, unlawfulness, and inhumanity matter. Love is the motive. It is why we do things. It is the sword. It is a weapon in that way for justice and integrity. It is a shield to help protect. And as much as anything, it is the energy that infuses life into it all. Perhaps Archbishop Tutu said it best when he said, "A person is a person through another person. My humanity is caught up, bound up, inextricably." I didn't know if I could say that or not, but I did anyway. With yours. We can only be human together. Spirituality to some is considered an amalgam of the positive emotions that bind us to other human beings, as well as to our experience of God or higher power or the universe, whatever, but the things that bind us together. These include love, hope, joy, compassion, faith, awe, gratitude, all of which involve human connection. And to go back to Miss Susan's story, all of the side of the wolf we want to feed. Love's about being part of the whole, being more rather than having more, which unfortunately seems to be an encompassing drive in our time. It does kind of beg the question of how many hundreds of billions of dollars do you really need to be happy? And we do not know the response to this yet. What's facing us is how are we going to respond to these ongoing events so that they can be traumatizing, but they don't have to be traumatizing. But the events, the deportations, the job loss, threats to personal security, further marginalizing already marginalized groups, threats of invading other countries, et cetera. And so, how do we not be traumatized by that? And I think this is where the courage comes in, because it gives us the strength to not get ensnared in the potentially traumatic events, because we need to be able to respond actively to painful, cruel, and unjust situations rather than being overwhelmed or held hostage by the events. We need to develop a sense of agency, a sense that I can do something, so that with this we can resist being traumatized and thus able to really help those who do not have our resources and who do not have a voice. So our challenge, my challenge, yours, is how to develop this sense of agency so that we can help those who are relying on us, how we can help support them, and allow them to develop their capacity to speak and to have choices? How can I become that person in the boat who is calm, fearless, capable, and can be effective in offering protection and encouraging hope? So, how do I cultivate this ability to choose or to make choices? In psychology, there are numerous studies of stress response and the difference between what is considered a threat mindset versus a challenge mindset. And one of the examples I've read was between a gazelle and a lion. And the lion's chasing the gazelle. And so the gazelle is running for her life, and the lion's running for a meal. And so it's the difference between, you know, and in this vignette, you'd like to be the lion. Let me just, you know, tell you that. Because when you are under threat and you're running for your life, you know, you're not getting so much oxygen to your brain. It's all going to your limbs. So you're running and will be stressed out. The lion, on the other hand, is just, this is all a big lark. This is a challenge, and you know, everything is working optimally. So we want to be able to develop to be the lion. Again, this is a challenge and not a threat. And so how do, you know, developing the challenge mindset? Well, the research would indicate, too, that the more in control you feel of a situation, the better equipped you feel, the more you've practiced it. This helps. Because when we know we can manage what's going on with us, then we're not hijacked by our primitive brain. The part of us that goes into the fight, flight, freeze, and it's like, you know, the physiology is going to work, but if we have practiced, we can think more clearly and not get run off with, so to speak. What we tell ourselves matters, and that's a kind of take-home point. So if I come to believe that I can handle these things, then I can handle these things. And there seem to be a few steps in how to do this, and how to develop a challenge mindset versus a threat mindset. And one is realizing that bad things happen. That is to accept reality, because we can't fight that. I mean, once we accept there's a certain reality, like it or not, then we don't spend our time in despair and binging on horrible news, i.e. social media, rather than focusing on what we can do. A truism in psychology and human life is that nothing changes until we accept what it is. So once I accept the reality, then I can make whatever adjustments or adaptations I need to. I can choose where I'm going to put my attention. I'm not going to waste my time or energy on useless depression, useless guilt, beating my chest, but rather doing what I can do, however small it seems. Another step is finding allies. A support system is imperative. What we listen to matters. Finding positive quotes, affirmations can go a long way. Again, to go back to Miss Susan's story about, you know, this is what we'd like to feed ourselves. A Chinese proverb, if you want happiness for an hour, take a nap. If you want happiness for a day, go fishing. If you want happiness for a year, inherit a fortune. If you want happiness for a lifetime, help somebody else. I find certain things very helpful for me, and one or a couple of touchstones. I have a necklace that is a compass, and it is a reminder that I know my directions home. I have a pendant in my pocket, which is also a necklace, but I can't wear two because I'm not, my neck isn't that strong. And it's engraved on it is the quote, and I've used this before, but I just love it, so I'm going to do it again. From Winnie the Pooh, when Christopher Robin talks to Pooh, and he says, "You are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. But the most important thing is, even when we're apart, I'll always be with you. And that's just good to be reminded of. Other quotes that are from Winnie the Pooh is, I'm never afraid when I'm with you. Sometimes the smallest things take up the most room in your heart. And if you live to be 100, I hope I live to be 100 minus one day, so that I never have to live without you. Look for positives, affirmations that are soul building rather than soul eroding. Commitment, another part of the title. I've shared with a number of people, but nobody yet today in this service, that I started meditating a number of months ago. And because I, could be triggered every hour of every day by the upcoming election, and little did I know that I could be triggered every few minutes of every day with, since the 20th. And I have found this to be very helpful in not getting triggered. Starting the day with several intentions, including being grateful for a new day, embracing change and impermanence, choosing compassion over judgment, walking the path of wisdom, looking for more understanding rather than more facts. Walking the middle way isn't about avoiding obstacles, but learning to walk wisely. In meditative practices, there's an emphasis on compassion, both to self and others, awareness, which is the idea of being present with curiosity rather than judgment, loving kindness, and equanimity. I have found that committing to this practice empowers me. I just offer that. This is my sermon, so I'll tell you all that, and you can decide if you want to meditate or not. But other commitments I've made in taking action include committing to filling out surveys that are mailed to me that I think are important and mailing them back, writing or calling my congressman at least twice a month around issues that are important, sending at least two donations a month, one to political action and one to humanitarian need. I decided these are things I can and will do, and any mindful action, I believe, is helpful. The way that evil or negative forces work is they squash hope that small actions matter. Inaction and despair are luxuries we can't afford. In addition to actions, being able to handle feelings or manage emotions is very important. Fear and anxiety are probably the most salient issue I see on a day-to-day basis with my clients. I, like all of you, have concerns, have issues, have fears, anger, anxiety about things going on around us. So how to manage this? Because we're not going to squash these feelings or make them go away. I mean, feelings are not going to be mocked. Let me just say that. They'll show up in some way. And so our goal is how to manage them and use them with purpose. And how can I be the clear thinker on the boat? Thich Nhat Hanh says, love means to protect others, ourselves as well as others. What people need most is a sense of security and non-fear. In order to share this with people, I need to cultivate non-fear. His teachings remind us we all have a seed of fear within us as well as a seed of non-fear. The goal is to identify the seed of non-fear and metaphorically cultivate and water it. What Eastern traditions have known forever is that deep breathing is the most effective antidote to panic and anxiety. We've done this in our church services before, the 4-4-4, where you inhale to the count of 4, you hold to the count of 4, you exhale to the count of 4, and you hold the exhale to the count of 4. This is very important. There's another counting one that seems to do positive things for the vagal nerve, which is 4-7-8. Again, inhale to the count of 4, hold to 7, hold on to the count of 7, and exhale to the count of 8. Jokes are made about navel, gazing in terms of meditating, and where this comes from is there's the emphasis on belly breathing, because the surefire way of activating the parasympathetic nervous system is to breathe into the gut. And this is a way of getting out of the fight, flight, freeze mode. So when we practice deep breathing on a regular basis, then when the storm of anxiety or panic arises, we have a tool that we can depend on, and this tool can help allay our anxiety. Thich Nhat Hanh says, emotions are like storms. They come and go. You can prepare yourself for them, and you will survive. It's important to know that you've had other strong emotions, and you've survived them too. We can be, and we can develop resilience. One of the acronyms I've heard from FEAR, and I'm sure you all have too, and that is false evidence appearing real. And so this reminds me that in order to handle fear, we need to help, be able to identify it and get what the facts are about it, rather than what other people's panic is about it. And so, one of the things that you learn or one of the meditative practices is to develop equanimity. There's the mountain and there's the ocean and there's the tree meditations where essentially you assume being a mountain and then everything around you are just clouds, and if the ocean, you're deep and everything's calm there, and the waves are just, that's the passing things, are not identifying with the clouds or with the waves. And a little story. When you can use these things, it's just clouds every so often, but then you don't want to overuse it with people because it can kind of rankle them. Our office manager was flying out of here trying to get to Seattle, and it took 15 hours to get out of Shreveport, being deplaned 3 different times and that sort of thing. And so she texted that, and so, about an hour into it, I just texted back to her and said, "Oh, just clouds." And she kind of like, LOL. And then about 3 hours later, they deplaned once, got back on. And so, and I used the clouds again, or maybe I said waves, and a little bit. The 12th hour into it, she said they were still on the ground, and I did not, to my credit, say anything about it just being clouds, okay? You need to think these things through. Viktor Frankl said, between the stimulus and response, there's a space. And in that space, we can choose our response. That is an empowering statement, is that if I believe there is a space between what happens, between a stimulus, between an event, between an urge, then I can, in that space, I can decide how I'm going to respond rather than react. Again, it's there. It's important to develop beliefs that aid in this, such as my belief that we're not born strong, brave, resilient, but these are traits that can be acquired and learned with work and perseverance, not unlike learning to read and write. I believe that fundamentals count. I've told the story before about my father teaching me to swim, and he taught me to swim, and then he went out in the deep water. He said, "Swim to me," and I said, "I can't. It's, I might drown, it's too deep." And he said, "It's the same stroke, shallow or deep, you just swim." So I think with fundamentals, we remember to remember. We remember to where to put our focus. We look for helpers. We breathe. As Sally said last week when talking about the budget, it's like taking a step backwards and taking 2 breaths when we're frustrated before we act, because the wisdom in that. Eleanor Roosevelt said, life was meant to be lived and curiosity must be kept alive. One must never, for whatever reason, turn his back on life. What she wrote later was, that one can, even without any particular gifts, overcome obstacles that seem insurmountable if one is willing to face the fact that they must be overcome. Compassion for others and for self is also part of what love looks like. Love in action looks like. It's how we talk to ourselves, how we talk to other people. Christine Neff has done a lot of work in this area around self-compassion, and she says there are 3 core concepts: mindfulness, words of kindness, and recognition of being human. So it is the idea that we're going to make mistakes, and that's okay, and that, what I encourage people to do is to speak to yourself like you would speak to your best friend. Because, again, I hear in my office people, the way they will talk to themselves is usually not good. So it's about having that clarity of mind to be kind to yourself. This way we can have, not undermine ourselves. So being that person in the boat involves several things in the realm of emotions as well as physical. I think we need to be curious and open, developing ways that we can have agency or that we know we can do things, small steps. One of the things I tell people, and because I totally believe it, is that transparency is empowering. It's important to know that we have to learn to cope because the world will never be obliging. There are just always going to be things that happen. And that there are problems, there are obstacles, that the world has some horrible situations, that there are despicable politicians, and this is all real. It occurred to me that we can be horrified without being terrified. We can know that something's bad, and together we can handle this. The problems and obstacles are no more real than our strengths, our resources, and our abilities to adapt, accept, and walk a path of wisdom. I can focus on the actions I can take, which helps me build my sense of agency, so I don't get stymied by the things I can't control. I can look for areas of awe. In RE class a few months ago, we read a book on awe, and in it, it talked about it being an antidote for the sense of isolation and anxiety. It is that feeling of being in the presence of something vast that transcends your current understanding. And my goodness, in these times, we really do need that. We can pay attention, we can watch, we can look for things that are awesome, and we can decide what things will enhance our soul and what will not. Always be on the lookout for the presence of wonder. Small acts of kindness matter. Last week when I left here, I went over to the Gucci Kroger's across the street, and when I was putting my shopping cart up, a gentleman came up, and he said, "Here, let me take that for you." And that was just very touching. And he took it and put it into his corral thing. One of my clients who had a good deal of PTSD, she said, against my will even, I became a gardener. She said, because it just helps for me to dig in the dirt and to grow things so we can recreate. And that, I think, will help. And to remember along the way that we are braver, smarter, and stronger than we believe or we think. Thank you.
I'll ask the choir members to come and help us lead this, if you will. It's 126 in the grade. Or the lyrics are in the order of service, that works too.
Come, thou fount of every blessing, turn our hearts to sing thy praise. Streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. While the hope of life's perfection fills our hearts with joy and love, teach us ever to be faithful. May we still thy goodness prove. Come, thou fount of every vision, lift our hearts to what may come. See the lion and the young lamb dwell together in thy home. Hear the cries of war fall silent, feel our love glow like the sun. When we all serve one another, then our heaven is begun. Come, thou fount of inspiration, turn our lives to higher ways. Lift our gloom and desperation, show the promise of this day. Help us bind ourselves in union, help our hands tell of our love. With thine aid, O fount of justice, earthly fair as heaven above.
People say, what is the sense of our small effort? They cannot see that we must lay one brick at a time, take one step at a time. A pebble cast into a pond causes ripples that spread in all directions. Each one of our thoughts, words, and deeds is like that. No one has a right to sit down and feel hopeless. There's too much work to do. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. But I wanted to end on Charlotte's Web when Wilbur says, or asks, why did you do all this for me? I don't deserve it. I've never done anything for you. And Charlotte replies, you have been my friend. That in itself is a tremendous thing. I wove my webs for you because I liked you. After all, what's a life anyway? We're born, we live a little while, and we die. A spider's life can't help being something of a mess with all this trapping and eating flies. By helping you, perhaps I was trying to lift up my life a trifle. Heaven knows anyone's life can stand a little of that. So we'll go in peace, and we will be that person on the boat with clear vision. Thank you.
far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. The wide universe is the ocean I travel,